Welcome back to our channel, where we dive deep into the most explosive, heart-stopping moments of your favorite daytime dramas. Today is a spectacular day to unpack a revelation that will completely alter the landscape of Los Angeles fashion and tear two legendary families apart. The stage is set, the secrets are buried deep, and the fallout will be nothing short of catastrophic. The atmosphere inside the opulent Logan fashion house was nothing short of electric, vibrating with the kind of triumphant energy that only comes from a massive global success. Katie Logan Spencer and Bill Spencer had poured millions into their debut collection, utilizing the highly contested designs of Eric Forster to broadcast their brand across billboards worldwide. The launch event for their newest expansion was designed to be the ultimate coronation, a glittering spectacle meant to solidify the Logan brand as the undisputed titan of the fashion industry. Flashbulbs popped like starlight, champagne flowed in crystal flutes, and the room was packed with the most influential press and investors in the city. At the absolute center of this dazzling universe stood Hope Logan Spencer, the newly acquired crown jewel of the Logan Empire. She had just defected from Forrester Creations in a blaze of glory, leaving a trail of shock and corporate devastation in her wake. This night was supposed to be her ultimate victory lap, a public declaration of her independence and creative supremacy. Hope's internal state was a chaotic labyrinth of sinister satisfaction and deep-seated defiance. For months, she had endured the condescending leadership of Steffy Forrester Finnegan, watching helplessly as her beloved Hope for the Future line was repeatedly sidelined for Eric's couture. The marginalization had radicalized her, stripping away the sweet, forgiving demeanor she had worn for years and replacing it with a cold, calculating entitlement. She had ignored the desperate, tearful pleas of her aunt, Donna Logan, who had begged her not to take Katie's job offer, terrified that it would permanently destroy the family. Hope had brushed those warnings aside, fueled by a burning desire to punish her mother, Brooke, for prioritizing her marriage to Ridge over her daughter's career. Standing under the brilliant lights of the launch event, Hope believed she was untouchable, wrapped in a cloak of righteous vengeance and newfound corporate power. She was entirely unaware that the foundation of her entire life was about to crumble beneath her designer heels. Beside her stood Liam Spencer, beaming with an intoxicating mixture of pride and unwavering devotion. Liam had been the primary architect of Hope's defection, relentlessly pressuring her to abandon Forrester Creations and embrace the promise of absolute creative control at the Logan brand. He had championed her vision, defended her honor, and stood as her ultimate protector against the perceived tyranny of Steffy and Ridge. As he held his wife's hand, posing for the relentless barrage of cameras, Liam felt an overwhelming sense of victory. He believed that they had finally escaped the toxic cycle of Forrester manipulation, stepping into a bright, limitless future where their family and their careers could thrive in perfect harmony. His naive optimism blinded him to the subtle, lingering shadows in his wife's eyes, oblivious to the fatal indiscretion that was ticking like a time bomb within their marriage. That shadow belonged to none other than Wyatt Spencer. The complex, agonizing history of the Spencer brothers fighting over Hope's heart was a saga written in tears and betrayal, a love triangle that had supposedly been laid to rest years ago. Yet, during Hope's darkest, most vulnerable days at Forrester Creations, when she felt entirely alienated, unappreciated, and pushed to the absolute brink by Steffy's arrogance, she had sought comfort in the most dangerous place possible. In a moment of profound weakness and emotional desperation, Hope had crossed an unforgivable line with Wyatt. It was a secret she had buried deep within her soul, convinced that she could compartmentalize the transgression and move forward with Liam as if nothing had ever happened. But in the world of high-stakes drama, secrets of the flesh never remain buried forever, especially when a vengeful enemy is actively hunting for the truth. Steffy Forrester Finnegan was a woman forged in the fires of competition, and she had never been one to accept defeat gracefully. When Hope officially resigned from Forrester Creations, cornering Steffy and mocking her past before walking out the door, the humiliation had burned Steffy to her very core. She had been completely blindsided, her illusion of absolute control shattered in an instant. The thought of Hope Logan, the woman who constantly paraded her moral superiority and played the eternal victim, basking in the glory of a massive Logan brand launch, was a reality Steffy simply could not stomach. Driven by a furious, vindictive need to level the playing field and destroy her rival, Steffy had embarked on a ruthless crusade to uncover any leverage she could find. Her relentless investigation led her down a dark, ethically questionable path, culminating in the illegal acquisition of Hope's private medical records. What Steffy discovered within those confidential files was a weapon of mass destruction, a truth so explosive that it defied even her own cynical expectations. She had not only uncovered that Hope was pregnant, but she had taken the extraordinary step of secretly commissioning a DNA test to confirm the paternity of the unborn child. The result of the ultimate vindication for Steffy, a golden ticket to completely annihilate Hope's carefully curated good girl image. Armed with the undeniable scientific proof of Hope's infidelity, Steffy meticulously planned her revenge. She did not want to merely confront Hope in private. She wanted to orchestrate a public execution of Hope's character, choosing the very moment of Hope's greatest professional triumph to deliver the fatal blow. As the launch event reached its glittering crescendo, with Bill Spencer preparing to take the microphone and officially introduce Hope as the future of the Logan brand, the heavy mahogany doors of the venue swung open with a resounding crash. The sharp, authoritative click of Steffy's heels echoed across the marble floor, instantly slicing through the celebratory cacophony. The room fell into a stunned, suffocating silence as the crowd parted, allowing Steffy to stride down the center aisle like an avenging angel of destruction. She was dressed impeccably, her posture radiating an intimidating, unyielding confidence. Bill Spencer's celebratory smile vanished, replaced by a defensive, aggressive scowl, while Liam stepped protectively in front of Hope, his brow furrowed in deep confusion. Katie and Brooke exchanged horrified glances, their instincts screaming that a catastrophe was unfolding right before their eyes. Steffy did not wait for an invitation to speak. She bypassed the security detail with a mere glare and stepped directly onto the illuminated stage, her eyes locked on a Hope with a chilling, predatory intensity. She commandeered the microphone, her voice echoing through the grand hall with crystal-clear authority. Steffy began by mocking the entire premise of the event, tearing into the Logan family's reliance on stolen Forrester designs and their desperate need to poach Forrester talent to build their empire. But she quickly pivoted, making it abundantly clear that she was not there to discuss corporate espionage or fashion lines. She was there to expose the fraudulent, hypocritical core of the woman they were all celebrating. She addressed the press, the investors, and the family, promising them a story that would eclipse any fashion collection ever created. With a dramatic, calculated flourish, Steffy produced a thick manila envelope, holding it aloft for the flashing cameras to capture. She announced to the bewildered crowd that she possessed Hope's recent medical records. The collective gasp from the audience was palpable. Before Liam could intervene or Bill could summon security to throw her out, Steffy delivered the first shockwave. Hope Logan Spencer was pregnant. For one fleeting, agonizing second, a look of pure, unadulterated joy washed over Liam's face. The prospect of another child, a symbol of their enduring love and fresh start, was a beautiful thought. He turned to Hope, his eyes shining with sudden emotion, only to find her face drained of all color, her body trembling in absolute, paralyzing terror. Hope's reaction was the first undeniable sign that this was not a moment of celebration, but the beginning of a nightmare. Steffy's triumphant smirk deepened as she watched Liam's confusion morph into dread. She did not allow the silence to linger. With ruthless precision, She pulled the official DNA test results from the envelope and read the conclusive findings aloud to the silent, breathless room. The child growing inside Hope did not belong to Liam. The absolute climax of the drama erupted when Steffy declared, her voice dripping with venomous satisfaction, that the father of the baby was none other than Wyatt Spencer. The words struck the room like a physical blow, a cataclysmic revelation that instantly shattered the glamorous facade of the evening. The flashing cameras went into a frenzy, capturing the exact moment the Spencer and Logan families were torn apart by an unimaginable betrayal. Liam Spencer's reaction was a study in profound, visceral devastation. The revelation hit him with the force of a runaway train, physically knocking the wind out of his lungs. He stumbled backward, his hands instinctively clutching his chest as if his heart had literally been ripped from his ribcage. The betrayal was too massive, too labyrinthine to process all at once. It was not just an affair with a stranger. It was his own brother, Wyatt, the man who shared his blood, the man who had fought him for Hope's love for years. The realization that his wife had sought out his brother's bed while he was fiercely defending her honor at Forrester Creations caused Liam's entire worldview to collapse. His knees buckled, unable to support the weight of the agonizing truth, and he collapsed onto the stage, a broken, sobbing shell of the optimistic man he had been just moments prior. A few feet away, Bill Spencer stood entirely paralyzed, trapped in a horrifying, impossible dilemma. The ruthless tycoon, a man who always had a strategic countermove for every business crisis, was suddenly rendered completely powerless by a family tragedy of epic proportions. The unborn child Steffy had just announced was his own grandchild, a new life entering the world. Yet, this child was conceived in sin, the product of a devastating betrayal between his two sons. Bill's mind raced, torn between his instinct to protect his business investment in Hope and the agonizing reality that his family was being ripped apart from the inside out. He didn't know how to handle this soon-to-be-born grandchild, knowing that the baby's very existence would serve as a permanent, living reminder of the ultimate betrayal that would forever sever the bond between Liam and Wyatt. Steffy, meanwhile, reveled in the absolute destruction she had orchestrated. She stood over the ruins of the event, her voice rising above the chaotic murmurs of the press. She mercilessly gloated, pointing a manicured finger at a weeping, hyperventilating Hope. Steffy loudly declared to the world that Hope was not the beacon of morality she pretended to be. She branded Hope a deceitful adulterer and an immoral mother, tearing down the hope for the future, branding piece by piece. Steffy highlighted the sheer hypocrisy of the Logan women, who constantly judged others for their mistakes while harboring the darkest, most destructive secrets of their own. It was a flawless, brutal character assassination, executed with the precision of a seasoned warrior who had finally vanquished her greatest enemy. The impact on the Logan women was immediate and devastating. Katie Logan Spencer watched in sheer horror as her multi-million-dollar launch event disintegrated into a scandalous circus, her dreams of fashion dominance evaporating into the flashing lights of the paparazzi. Brooke Logan Forrester covered her mouth, tears streaming down her face as she witnessed her daughter's public crucifixion, realizing that her own recent hypocrisies paled in comparison to the magnitude of Hope's sins. But it was Donna Logan who felt the most tragic sense of vindication. She had frantically begged Hope not to take this path, warning her that this move would destroy the family. Donna's worst fears had materialized in the most grotesque, heartbreaking manner imaginable, leaving her to weep for the nieces and sisters she could no longer protect. The media frenzy in the room was ruthless and unrelenting. Reporters shouted questions, cameras zoomed in on Liam's collapsed form, Hope's tear-stained, guilt-ridden face, and Steffy's victorious, unyielding posture. The launch event, which was meticulously designed to be the glorious inauguration of the new Logan fashion era, had instantaneously transformed into a dark, highly publicized funeral for Hope's reputation. Every carefully crafted narrative of purity, integrity, and creative brilliance was burned to the ground, replaced by the scandalous reality of a deeply fractured woman who had destroyed her marriage and her family. As the night descended into absolute chaos, the overarching tragedy of the situation settled over Los Angeles like a thick, suffocating fog. Steffy Forrester Finnegan had won the ultimate battle, securing Forrester Creations' dominance by completely neutralizing their biggest threat before she even designed a single dress for the competition. But the cost of this victory was immeasurable. The Logan family was left in absolute ruins, their professional ambitions shattered and their personal bonds irreparably broken. Liam Spencer was left to navigate a future devoid of trust, haunted by the ghost of his brother's ultimate betrayal. And Hope Logan Spencer, once the shining star of the fashion world, was left to face the terrifying reality of a child conceived in the darkest shadows of her own hubris. The drama had reached its absolute zenith, leaving a landscape of